515 Unite was what the May 18 event was called. Many fans have danced to the Bang Bang theme and played with friends to fight against demons. Some exhibited their talents through fan art, and some even went out their way to portray these characters as their real-life adaptations through cosplay. Most importantly, what everyone really cared about was that this was also the day when everyone logged into Mobile Legends to get hold of the hero who is believed to be the one who's gonna change the meta, Faramis the Alchemist. I personally think Faramis is more like a necromancer than an alchemist, and I'll tell you why. There isn't any alchemy in his character, let alone in his skills. I was expecting a Philosopher's Stone-ish lore or something somewhere, but I'm not the game's developer, so let's just get right into the juicy stuff. Hey everyone, what is up? Walang kukurapi, it's your boy Erwin. Welcome to Innovate, and here is So You Want to Main Faramis the Alchemist.
Take a look at us, getting information now. Victorious, always ready for winning the round.
You're gonna have to consider whether you would like to build Faramis as a support or a mage hero. But always remember that not all matches are the same. What's usually predictable in most matches may be quite unexpected in some. With that said, it's possible that in certain cases, you might want to shift from one build to another depending on the needs of your team halfway through the match. His passive Vicious Retrieval allows you to collect souls that are formed when nearby enemies die. These soul fragments restore health and are responsible for reducing respawn time. Every soul you collect shortens your death timer by 5 to 7% and can stack up to 18 times, that is equivalent to 90%. This basically means that you'll have a respawn time for about 5 seconds or less at level 15 when you've maxed out your soul stack. His first active skill is Shadow Stampede. Faramis goes into a shadow state and his movement speed increases by 70%. Both of his physical and magical defenses are increased by 50 points at skill level 1 and up to 100 points at skill level 6. Shadow Stampede lasts for 3 seconds, which makes it an excellent way to engage or disengage with your enemies. He leaves marks on enemies he gets in contact with and deals an initial base damage of 325. A bond is formed while doing so, and if kept within range after he exits his shadow state, the enemies he left marks on are pulled towards Faramis and are dealt with another 325 extra damage. The base damage increases up to 550 at level 6. Ghost Bursters is his second skill and his primary damage dealing skill. This releases a burst of spirits in a fan-shaped area in front of him that deals a base damage of 330 at skill level 1 and 510 at skill level 6. The damage also splits up to 3 times on enemy heroes and only once on non-hero units. Cult Altar is his ultimate skill. He creates a wide altar that lasts for 10 seconds and resurrects allied heroes who die within the designated area. They will revive with 80% of their HP, but retain 100% of their damage. At skill level 3, heroes will revive with no dent to their health at all. If the same heroes die again within the altar, they would be revived back just the same. I would recommend maxing out Ghost Bursters before Shadow Stampede and to always allot 1 point on Cult Altar every time that it becomes available. The cooldown reduction per level in Ghost Bursers is insane and relevant in helping Faramis spam his opponents more. At level 6, the base cooldown is down to 3.5 seconds. I wouldn't recommend that you go full mage with Faramis, but if you insist, remember that 2 of his skills are designed to assist his allies and 1 is a crowd control spell. 2 skills deal damage to opponents, but 1 of them requires up-close encounter for it to be effective. If you intend to build Faramis with mostly magic power equipment, keep in mind that Shadow Stampede isn't as effective in the late game as it is in both early and mid-game stages. The thing is, despite the additional 100 points in physical defense and another 100 points in magic defense, late game stage is when marksmen, fighters, and some mages really shine and dominate the battlefield. If you don't have sufficient HP and or defensive items, you will just be serving yourself to your opponents for a Faramising dinner. The best starting item for this build is either an enchanted talisman or a clock of destiny. Both are low-cost tier 3 items and are easily assembled in the early game phase. Lightning Truncheon and Blood Wings are your ideal equipment in the mid and late game stages. Divine Glaive will help pierce through your enemy's magic defense, especially come late game. Magic Shoes are ideal for movement, but I would discourage purchasing any movement gear as your first item. You already have move speed advantage when you activate Shadow Stampede to begin with. As an alternative, you might want to consider using Demon Shoes too, so you don't run out of mana if you're laning solo. This is the recommended build, and it's actually a combination of the mage and the tank builds. Same as the first 2, focus on magic damage and cooldown reduction in both early and mid-game stages. Level up as fast as the mage build and you become almost as tough as the tank build. Only start equipping tank items in the mid-game or when an enemy marksman or fighter makes it difficult for you to survive long enough to make you cast your ultimate. Contrary to the rule in mage build, you will be starting with movement gear, and Wizard's Boots is the best choice for this. It will help you acquire more gold through assists and will make you mark your opponents more effectively in the early game. Take advantage of Faramis' early burst damage and enhance that even more by acquiring Clock of Destiny next. Come mid-game, when team clashes and ganks become more rampant, you will need to have fleeting time in your arsenal to make your ultimate accessible for as often as possible. Ice Queen Wand slows down enemies and completely synergizes with Shadow Stampede. Finally, for the last item, Courage Bulwark's active effect will help your team dominate in fights. Shadow Stampede makes Faramis essentially tough enough to tank during the early game. While that may be true, you should not be focusing on building Faramis a tank just yet, and instead focus on building magic damage items to help him level up faster. Going full tank should only be an option during the late game stage, when you become the primary target of the opposing team. By then, ideally your team's marksman and fighter have already reached their potential and their damage output are far more significant than yours in team fights. Casting your ultimate at the right moment will grant them the power to wipe out the entire opposing team, even when the enemies are able to get the upper hand at the very start of the fight. Follow the support build, and if the match is still up, assess your enemy's progress and determine which items fit your battle scenario the most. Dominance Eyes, Oracle, and Athena Shield are excellent in increasing your survivability, and Thunder Belt will make your enemies move slower on top of the passive effect caused by Ice Queen and Dominance Eyes. Replace Clock of Destiny first and Fleeting Time next with the appropriate defensive items. For battle spells, Flicker would be ideal to engage or disengage with your enemies. If you don't have it yet, settle with using Sprint for the time being. Once you have mastered utilizing Flicker with Faramis, you can probably surprise Flick into a dying teammate, or maybe apply in actual games something like this. Purify is another battle spell to consider, especially that Faramis is quite the target of opponents in the later part of the game. This spell ensures that your ultimate skill isn't interrupted by any crowd control skills. There are only two emblems that best suit Faramis, Mage and Support. If you choose to be Mage, allocate 3 talent points on Flow, 3 points on Observation, and 1 point on Impure Rage. On the other hand, should you choose Support instead, allocate 3 points on Agility, 3 points on Rupture, and 1 point on Focusing Mark. Here we see a hybrid support for Faramis baiting out the enemy team. He's able to let out Guinevere, Raphael and Grok's ultimate skills and still manage to sustain the damage and cast his very own ultimate, Cult Altar. It wasn't after Chu decided to hop in and attack him that he died, leaving his team well off in health, a couple of kills, a turret down, and eventually win the match. The enemy team is waiting for the wave to be cleared before they venture out for the counter attack. Right when the last friendly minion died, the enemy started charge, focusing their efforts onto a mage-built Faramis. Faramis casts his ultimate to allow his teammates to go pure offense against the opposing team. Faramis dies and gets resurrected, but there aren't any more minions visible to tank the turret, so he takes 4 turret shots for his team to help finally take it down. Enemy team sets up a gank on Faramis and Diggy and they are successful in killing both. Faramis is able to cast his ultimate skill but only after Diggy died in the process. The enemy team sees that there isn't any point to fighting against Faramis within the altar, so they retreat. Faramis takes advantage of this opportunity and was able to get back with a kill. There are a couple of things we can learn from this. A. Never engage with an enemy Faramis or his team within the area where he casted his ultimate on. And B. If you're playing Faramis or are a part of his team, go as aggressive as possible whenever he casts his ultimate. So there's your true hero spotlight featuring Faramis the Alchemist. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a comment, hit like and subscribe, and make sure you hit the notification bell to see more videos like this one. Until next time, once again, my name is Erwin, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.